Hi, this is Dennis Prager. As you can see, I'm in Jerusalem. The holiest Jewish site in the world is right behind me, the Western Wall, sometimes called the Wailing Wall. We're here in Israel to say, first of all, to Israelis, you're not alone. It's appreciated by Israelis because not many people are coming. But we're also here to tell the world what it is that Israelis, who have endured the worst urban terrorism probably in history, who have seen their children blown up, who've seen nails fly through the brains of boys and girls and grandmothers and grandfathers. What do you think? How do you endure it? Do you walk around in fear? How do you explain Israel's aloneness in the world? Questions that I'll be asking. Every type of Israeli that I could find and who's willing to answer it. We bring to you Israel in the time of terror.
Wounded people.
הוא לא מצליח לענות לשאלות שלי כרגע.
One in a severe condition, two in a moderate condition.
This is Gila Maman. Her son Sharon was 22, was walking down the street on Ben Yehuda Street on that evening, December 1, when the two terrorists blew themselves up and left a third bomb in a car to try to get the rescue workers after they were gone and had done their dirty work. She has 9 children, but she spends most of her time really around the clock here with her son Sharon, who needs her most, more than the others. He still has a nail in his brain, which makes his recovery very difficult, but he's fought off infection after infection because the many nuts and bolts that were in his body were poisoned with rat poison and caused horrible infections.
So you were working as a supermarket security guard. A young woman approached you with a pack on her back. What then happened?
Я не думал, что там мины, но я понял, что там много металла. И я, грубо стал ее выталкивать. לך בחוץ.
הוא לא הבין שיש שם פצצה, לא הבין שהיא מחבלת, הוא פשוט הבין שיש הרבה מתכת ולא רצה להראות לו מה זה. אז הוא דחף אותה אינסטינקטיבי החוצה, לא תיכנסי.
В момент, когда я ее отталкивал, она взорвалась.
כשהוא דחף אותה באותה רגע, אז היה פיצוץ והתפוצצה.
Меня отбросило сильным ударом таким назад, я отлетел.
הוא נפל מהעודף אחורה ונפל על הרצפה.
What happened to your daughter?
My daughter was killed in the bombing attack in Isbal when she was just going to have a Coke with her friends.
And now you're taking care of Palestinian children in a hospital?
I've always been taking care of Palestinian children in the hospital. And I imagine that I will carry on taking care of Palestinian children in the hospital.
לבית החולים. כולי הייתי מלא רסיסים, מלא סרוכיות שעפו מהבית קפה, מלא מסמרים שלא יודע מאיפה הם באו. הרבה דברים נכנסו לי לגוף.
Your son is a victim of a homicide bomber, and he has a nail in his brain that can't be removed.
אין לו שמחת חיים, הוא בא, עושה את הטיפולים והולך, לא מחייך, לא שר, לא... והוא היה ילד עם המון המון שמחת חיים. המון שמחת חיים, ורק מוזיקה הוא היה אוהב לשמוע. היום הוא לא פותח את המערכת בשום פנים ואופן. הוא לא רוצה לשמוע. מה שהוא רוצה אני קונה, איזה דיסקים לדרבן אותו, בשום אופן. הוא לא רואה טלוויזיה, הוא כל הזמן רוצה לברוח לישון. כי הכל שמור לו פה בפנים, כל העצב, כל הכאב. היום פעם ראשונה הוא קם בבוקר והוא אמר לי, אמא, שכל הערבים ישרפו. אז זה אני מבינה שהוא מתחיל כבר...
הוא מבין הרבה.
הוא מבין הרבה מאוד, אבל הוא לא מוכן להוציא כלום.
Well, the situation is pretty bad at this point. The business is very low because of the fact that tourism we cannot see at all, and most of the Israeli people, the Jerusalem people, prefer not to go down to the city, to the center of the city. They prefer to do business other places.
You don't see tourists, the shops is quiet, the hotels is free, nobody see. It's really sad.
You feel like the people prefer to stay at home with their children. They sometimes just ordering things by phone, just not coming out. Even if they want just to go to a restaurant, they prefer to just order from the restaurant and bring the stuff home to have like a decent meal with the family.
How are you staying in business?
We are almost not. We are almost not staying, no. It's very difficult, and we're trying to find a way to survive, but I'm not sure about.
How many years have you been in business?
18 years. 18 years, and this is the most difficult time.
Why do you think Israel is so alone in the world?
Because אנחנו עם סגולה.
A treasured or chosen people.
Yeah. And,
can you say that in English?
Okay, chosen people. Yeah.
Are you religious?
Yeah, I'm religious. Yeah. And I believe in God, and I think that God wants to everyone hate us because this has happened, and God wants the other thing that happened in Israel, all the milchama, war. God wants their ניסיון, איך אומרים ניסיון? Test that God tests us. He wants to see if we are believing or we are say there's no God, and he tests us. Yeah.
Because they have their reasons, political reasons. Maybe in France they have 5 million French Muslims in France, and they say 1.5 million not legal. So they have a very good political reason to say what they say. Maybe they're scared.
One of the problems in our area particularly is we're a big problem to the dictator-oriented government policies in our area. And the fact that Israel flourishes as a democratic and free nation without all the oil and without all the natural resources is a real thorn in the area, in the leaders' back, because we succeed, and it's a problem for them.
Maybe it has something to do with the response to the Holocaust, where they didn't pick, the Europeans didn't pick the underdog the last time, and they're trying to pick whom they perceive as the underdog this time.
Why do you think Israel is so alone in the world?
Because it seems like nobody really understands that Jewish people are getting killed every day. And we have so many ruined families. You know, I know many families of people that just lost their child. I have 2 neighbors. One of them was killed. He was 15 years old, less than 15 years old. He was killed in the downtown in Ben Yehuda 2 months ago. One of them was badly injured. And now he lives, thanks God, but one of them was killed.
Because the hatred for Jews was a hatred for God who had chosen us as his special people. It was the idea in the world that we brought into the world that there are obligations. The world is not a free place, and that's always the source of the hatred.
Are you scared walking around Rehov Yafo?
No,
Why not?
because I believe that someone up there, and if he wants that I die everywhere. I mean everywhere, in the canyon, in here, in the I can die everywhere, in the bus. I pray everywhere, every day, that he will Shmor alai, care of me, yes. And I know I never afraid, never.
I'm constantly frightened, and I'm looking to all sides. Are there any Arabs here? Are there any bombers going to be on the bus with me? I might be extreme, but I think that there is no Arab who's not ready to kill a Jew.
Oh, really? I don't scare. It's. I told you we get regular for this. It's became part of our life. So you don't know what's going to happen. Anytime, any second, anywhere. There is no safe place. You see, every time you go, you never can tell what's going to be happening. And we have no choice. We have to work.
But I can go on the streets and not be afraid, because I'm afraid now when I'm talking here to the camera. I'm afraid. And I think the whole world need to know that here, in this place, people were killed. Little kids that don't do anything wrong, killed.
We are walking on really what is one of the most dangerous streets in the world right now. Do you feel fear?
No.
Why not?
I've been here since the 1966, all the wars, and you feel, first of all, that this is, for a Jew, this is his home. You can't feel frightened in your own home, or there's no point in living.
You must live. You can't live in the house all day, so you have to go out, and you get used to it. This is the problem, that you get used to it. And we've got weapon.
Why?
Why? Because if some terrorist is gonna show here, so I want to defend myself and other civilians, if I can.
The Arabs call it in Arabic Intifadat al-Awda. Intifadat al-Awda in Arabic means the right of return intifada, meaning that's what it's become. And in this case, when it's that means they're not willing to compromise. They want all of the land of Israel, or as they call it, Palestine, and to return to the essential conflict of 54 years ago. Who has a right to this land, the Jews or the Palestinians? And in this case, if you're siding with the Palestinians, you're not supporting Palestinians' rights. You're denying Israel its right to exist. And that's why we're claiming now that we're fighting for our homes. It's not only because of the suicide bombings. It's not that we're fighting for our lives right now because of the bombings that were happening here. We are literally fighting for the existence of the State of Israel, Israel's right to exist. The Arab campaign to delegitimize the State of Israel, to find reasons why Israel doesn't have a right to exist, is in the political level, it's in the academic level, and it's in the media.
We tried a lot. Barak wanted to give something that no one thought, no one dreamed that they're going to get it, and they didn't accept. It's showing that they don't want to make peace. They don't want pieces from the country, that they want to kill us, to drop us out of the country.
I want just to tell you that we put the safety of the Palestinian people before the safety of our own soldiers. If we really want just to kill all of them, believe me, it would be much more easier for us to just explode everything by air or by tanks. And we just send our own soldiers house after house just to avoid to hurt innocent people. Because of that, we just lose 13 of our soldiers who are fathers, soldiers who are sons and husbands. And we send them there just because we want to avoid to hurt innocent people.
We have Palestinians that work in our neighborhoods, and they're not afraid
one iota of entering our neighborhood to work there or to shop in our malls. Yet, if we would walk into Ramallah or Beit Lechem right now, we would basically be taking our lives in our hands. So I think that really tells the story about how we feel about the Arabs and how they feel about us.
The things that I can remember from those years was in Israel were an atmosphere of peace and just talking about peace. And I'm not sure that the other side made their best to bring up the children with those feelings that I grew with.
How do you regard the world that sent the terrorist?
אני לא יכול להגיד לעולם, אני יכול להגיד רק לרשות הפלסטינית שהיא אחראית לזה, שזה זוועה להרוג אנשים חפים מפשע, אנשים שלא גרמו להם שום דבר, ולפי דעתי בן אדם שמקריב את החיים שלו שהוא ימות בשביל שאנשים אחרים ימותו, אז בכלל הראש שלהם גמור.
5 years ago I stood within several meters of a suicide bomber in the Machane Yehuda market. It was an experience which didn't change my life but awoke me to the extent that if somebody is willing to bring himself to the point of death in the name of God, made me think that's obviously wrong, but I've got to be doing that with my life for life's sake. That I've got to be just the same way he's willing to give his life to God to die, I've got to be willing to give my life to God to live.
I think that they will do anything to kill me. I think that not only the suicide bombers hate me, I think that the Palestinian people hate me. Or if they are not, so why they don't say that? Why they leave us to feel that they do? They have kids 3 years old and 5 years old in school already learning how to kill us and how to hate us.
No, I don't hate anybody. I don't know, like, I think they're mistaking. I think they're getting in the wrong way to get what they want. Obviously, I hate those people that do bombing and everything. But this is that's obvious. I don't hate anybody. I don't think I hate anybody.
I don't hate the Arabs. I can understand, but I respect them. But they are my neighbors. I don't. איך אומרים? לא אכפת לי. It doesn't matter to me to share with them. It's in this nice city.
אבל ההרגשה הבולטת היא כעס, שנאה, ייאוש, מה?
יש כעס רב. מאוד מאוד.
בלב שלך?
בלב שלי בוודאי.
מה עם שנאה?
שנאה לא הייתי אומר, אבל יש כעס מאוד.
I have to hate the person who's full of hate and who's just a ticking time bomb, whose main interest and focus in life is the destruction that he could cause. Nobody could not hate that. That's pure evil.
What is the strongest feeling you have toward the Arabs?
Compassion. I don't want to hate no one, but sometimes I feel like I hate someone who hates me. If someone wants to kill me, I have to defend myself.
אתה אופטימי או פסימי?
I'm optimistic. I think it will be over. In the end, we must speak with each other and לפתור את הבעיות. איך אומרים? To solve the problem with each other.
My future right now seems to be very black, I can see. I can tell you. I don't think that we have any kind of hope right now. I think that is very difficult. I think that we need like any kind of change in the Palestinian mind, in the Palestinian view. They have to see in some way that the peace is more convenient than the terror.
אני לא חושב כל כך, תראה, זו תקופה שהיא תחלוף, והיא תחלוף מהר מאוד. פשוט מאוד כל העולם, אולי לא כל העולם, הייתי אומר, אולי חצי מהעולם קצת נגדנו, אבל הם יתחילו להבין שאנחנו צודקים בסופו של דבר.
So I see that what is happening is God's way of pressuring us into waking up and seeing, we should look at who we are and what we are and why we are in this land and why we need to be here. And I'm afraid that things will not get better until we do that.
I do believe that one day we'll have somebody to talk to by the Palestinian people. I hope that we will live in peace. It's very hard to imagine at this point. Very hard.
If you had all of American Jewry before you watching you on television, what is the message that you would like to give them? And also, if you have a message to America generally.
Let the American people realize that this is the front line against terrorism. If this war against terrorism is not going to be fought and won here in the Middle East, then the same thing will have to be fought and won in the streets of New York.
מה היית רוצה להגיד לאמריקאים? אם כולם היו יכולים להאזין.
לא יודעת. שיעזרו, שיתמכו משם, שמה שאפשר את העזרה של התמיכה
רציתי להגיד לכם שכל מה שאתם רואים בטלוויזיה, עם TV, הכל שקר, כאילו אנחנו לא פוגעים בערבים כמו שהם מראים. אנחנו עד הרבה מטפלים אך ורק במבוקשים, באנשים שרוצחים יהודים באופן רק בהם לפגוע ולא לפגוע באזרחים, כי אם היינו רוצים לפגוע באזרחים היינו מורידים כמה טילים בעזה או בג'נין והיינו גורמים את כל הסיפור. אנחנו לא עושים את זה, מתייחסים אליהם בצורה ממש יפה, ואני חושב שבאמת לאוכלוסייה שם כדאי לבוא לבקר בישראל, לא מפחיד לבוא לבקר בישראל, ואנחנו מקווים לראות אתכם כאן.
We hope they'll support us, come to visit us, in spite of everything. We're here, and we'll stay here. For a fact, we're not moving. And everybody's welcome to join us.
There's no question that for my colleagues and me, this has been one of the most intense weeks of our lives. To visit Israel at this time of terror, to hear them in their non-complaining mode, to hear them say, Zeh Tov, it'll be good, it'll be okay, to see them try to make a normal life among people who would like to blow them up, literally, is actually to be very inspired. I'm inspired as a human to see how humans can rise above hatred and endure and go on. I'm inspired as a Jew to see Jews from secular Israelis to religious Israelis, all in some strange way, uniting to say, we're not going to give up, we will prevail, and God will be with us, or at least we'll be with God. So from Jerusalem, this is Dennis Prager in Israel in a time of terror.
Thank you.